Hello everyone, Sarad here, and yes, what you see before me is Battletech. The version of Battletech specifically that was released, 4 years ago maybe? I forgot exactly when it came, but on Steam by Harebrained Schemes. And because my overall experience in the Battletech universe is not spectacularly grand in scale. I've played a few of the PC games. I've played the Super Nintendo game, which is better left unmentioned otherwise. And the Mechwarrior Online and Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries. I've played those, but I figured we might want someone along who knows a little bit more, and by a little bit I mean a whole ton more than I do about the universe. And that is JKLantern.
Have you seen my dice tower? It's Battletech themed. Have you seen the bottom shelf of my bookshelf? It is Battletech. I've been into this setting since like I was 8. I'm not particularly good at the tabletop game. I wouldn't necessarily know a great mech if it bit me in the ass, but I know a lot about the history of this setting, and so Sarat brought me in to see how much of this game makes me foam at the mouth.
That's part of it, yeah. I'm gonna turn down the music just a little bit on my end because it sounds like it's overpowering. Not much, because this game, of anything else this game may do right or wrong, it has an absolutely fantastic score to it. They did good in picking the music for this game.
It's much different from Mechwarrior 2, but I'm not complaining.
Mechwarrior 2 was kind of primitive, though.
Yeah.
Here you get a full orchestral soundtrack.
Which I know is what Battletech fans have been wanting for literal decades.
I will say the major knock about this game is the speed at which it moves. That is the major complaint, because they decided everything needs animations, so the game does not move particularly quickly in any phase. But if this becomes a problem, I will enable the debug mode, and I will go in and speed everything up, which unfortunately has a side effect of speeding up the music. That's why I don't want to do it right now. I would rather enjoy the music. So anyway, you have choices. Skirmish is not what we were here for. It's just a one-on-one fight type thing. One lance on one lance. Career is kind of like campaign, but there's no story. You just get a set number of years you get to toll around the galaxy trying to build up wealth and power and all that. Campaign has a story. That is where we are going. And it's going to be the standard campaign because you can adjust the game and difficulty settings. The standard campaign gets challenging at times, but from the bit I played, it was not teeth-grindingly frustrating at any point. At most, I think I had to repeat a mission twice because I picked the wrong venues to wander down and ended up getting destroyed.
You picked the wrong neighborhood.
I picked the wrong neighborhood,
happens.
yes. So I learned, doing those missions a second or third time, you can learn where you do not want to walk at the start of a mission. So anyway. I don't remember what can be renamed in this game. If we can rename things, we have names. Boy, do we have some names.
God, I hope we can rename mechs so we can have the double standard, just so I can call myself out. There is a specific mech that I want named the double standard.
I think I know what the mech that is from what you've told me. But,
yeah, I'm pretty sure we've mentioned it.
But the thing is, with the first time you see that particular mech, as long as we're talking about the same one, it's an enemy's piloting it, and if you get lucky, you can take it home all in one piece.
That was... So, I'm trying to resist the urge to lore dump, because if I start doing that, I won't stop doing that. Basically, when this game takes place, mechs are rare, a lot of industry has been blown up, so if you find half of a mech out there, you take it home with you. If nothing else, you can use it for spare parts.
And boy, it's taken a long time to load up because it's got to load up the start. Not the intro. I don't think it has to load up the intro we've seen or anything like that. It's just having to load up everything else.
Well, I can talk about the intro a little bit.
Oh, go ahead.
2107, humans invent jump ships. Start going... Oh, wait, never mind. Things are happening.
I am Kamea of House Arano, High Lady of the Oregon Reach, Protector
A
of
country
Cormadir,
no one
and the
recognizes.
Sword of Restoration. But I am not a hero, no matter what the stories say. A hero would have sacrificed more, compromised less.
Lady, have you ever been in
A
Battletech?
hero would have done better. You know this, of course. You were there. My father used to tell me stories about the ancient times. About the Star League. a
That's not
golden
ancient.
age of prosperity. Upheld by the great Mechwarriors of old. Guardians of the innocent. Protectors of the peace. I always dreamed
Give it a
of following
second.
in their footsteps.
I'm biting my tongue so hard.
I was too young to see the truth of things. After all, it wasn't heroism.
A lot
or
of people should
noble
have this
cause that won me
opinion.
the
She
throne.
should not be one of them.
Hiring a mercenary, skilled enough, perhaps ruthless enough, to carry the day. Hiring you. I still don't know if you fought for honor or for the thrill of it, for belief in my cause, or just in my money. But whether it was your noble heart or mercenary mind, your actions gave us hope. That makes you a hero in the eyes of history.
Or
Whether
it
you
would if
believe
anyone
it,
cared about the Oregon reaches.
that's up to you.
Wow, it only took us one cutscene for me to find something that deeply, deeply offended me about the setting.
So here's the thing: this poor woman was basically fed a bill of goods by her father,
Which is hilarious for reasons I'll get into momentarily.
and it only took her. Well, the thing about that cutscene is that happens at the end of the game. That's at the end of the story. We're going to get to the events that led there.
So the thing I have issue with already. So she talked about the Great Star League that was a golden age. A lot of people had that opinion, especially the people in the inner sphere, which is the bulk of inhabited space. Where we are? We're in a region of space called the Periphery. We're in the Rimward Periphery. And, the thing about that is, the Periphery has a very different opinion on the Star League, which tried to reunite all of humanity. The opinion they had was, oh damn, those city slickers are trying to conquer us. So historically, Periphery nations don't look at the Star League age nearly as happily. Oh god, we can be deep Periphery?
Yeah. So do you have a preference on where the family of our character comes from?
Wow, do you want me to just give the rundown of all of them?
Well, it does kind of give the rundown of some of these. Over on the right.
I can give you, like, the even more dumbed-down depiction.
Okay, go ahead. Just go top to bottom here.
Okay, Draconis Combine. They are in the... I'm going to describe this horribly wrong, but they're in the northeast part of the Inner Sphere. They're heavily xenophobic. They're based on, like, 80s depictions of samurai movies. So they're supposed to be space Japan, except not really. There's no way their government should work. Somehow it does. Individually, they have some of the most badass Mechwarriors out there. They're not known for being friendly. They're not known for working well as a team. Next one down is the Free Worlds League. The Free Worlds League is one of the oldest surviving inhabited nations in space. They're in the southwest portion of the Inner Sphere. Again, I hear people cringing as I describe it that way. They have much less of a unified ethnic background because they're less a nation and more an argument. While they are ruled by the Merrick family, who basically have the hereditary title of Captain General, there are numerous other great houses that are kind of feuding within. They are known for mercantilism. They will sell anything to anybody, which makes them enemies with someone else, but we'll get to that in a minute. They like a lot of missile boats. A lot of their mechs work well as a team, which is hilarious because they're in a civil war half the time. Next up, Federated Sons. They are primarily Anglo-French with some other things mixed in. They are just south of the Draconis Combine, in the southeast portion of space. They are known for their professional soldiers and for spreading freedom wherever they go. And by freedom, I mean they have horrible wealth inequality and firmly entrenched feudal titles. And if you're rich there, it's great. If you're in the outback, sucks to be you. Also, they're also known for a lot of light mechs. Next up, the Lyran Commonwealth, who were my favorite when I was a kid. They are known for heavy industry. They were actually the second nation to get battle mechs, and of the nations that survive, they are the oldest surviving nation to have battle mechs. They are ruled by House Steiner. They have very heavy German influence, although regions of them are Scottish. They focus more on business and politicking than straight up military stuff. They are known for their social generals who are of dubious competence, but they're also known for, like, throwing money at problems until problems go away, and also for generally being better equipped and for having heavier mechs than anybody. Their primary tactic, the Wall of Steel. Just throw waves and waves of big-ass mechs at things until the other guy's not moving.
And even with my limited knowledge, I know there is a meme out there called the Steiner Scout Squad, which is 4 Atlases paired up.
Oh, yes. One of my favorite jokes is and this is not going to be irrelevant in the time period we're in, the Steiner Battle Armor Squad. It's 4 commandos. Next up, House Liao, which is sandwiched between the Free Worlds League and the Federated Sons. They're sort of a mixture of communist China and Soviet Russia. They're kind of a communist nation. They're the smallest of the successor states. Densely packed worlds. They are known for paranoia. They fight dirty. And I don't blame them because they have much bigger, angrier neighbors. Of the successor states, they tend to be the weakest one and they're kind of the butt monkey, but honestly, they're a lot of fun. When new technology starts coming back, which is an entire thing, which we'll get to when we get to it, they tend to focus on, like, stealth things and things that guerrilla warfare and things that just are borderline war crimes. Like, you want to set that guy on fire from like 3 miles away? These are your guys. Minefields, they love them.
So how's Shifrost? Got it.
Okay, next up, we're going into the periphery now. The Magistracy of Canopus is a periphery nation, which means their tech isn't as good, they're not as big, they're not as wealthy. They're kind of in the boondocks. They are just south of the Free Worlds League. The Magistracy of Canopus is unique among the interstellar state nations in which they're primarily ruled by women. They believe heavily in like all sorts of freedom. You frequently hear them described as Space Vegas. They also, despite being one of the boondock nations, they have a surprisingly good medical community and a surprisingly good intelligence agency. There may be other stuff going on with them, which I may touch on with some DLC stuff. It depends on where the game takes that. But, a lot of people really love Canopus, and I don't blame people for that. Next up, Taurian Concordat, which is just south of Federated Suns, another periphery nation, but, they fared a little bit better than most of the other periphery nations. Their tech generally stayed the highest of the periphery nations, to the point that, like, come the 3020s, they were starting to attempt to rebuild some of the advanced tech. These guys are the oldest surviving interstellar nation. They are known for being stiff-necked, stubborn, and they are paranoid that House Davian is going to conquer them. You can almost think of them as, like, the Space 13 colonies or Space Texas. They're very much don't tread on me.
Libertarian, got it.
Kind of, yeah. The Rimward periphery is not a specific nation, but it's just a general direction. It's basically, you're headed generally south, so to speak. There's a region of space between Canopus and Taurian Concordat that's not owned by either of them at this point, and in fact, that's where the Oregon Collective is, which is where the game takes place, and some of these areas used to be owned by Canopus and Taurus, but when the Star League fell, a whole lot of the periphery kind of folded in on itself, because all that good technology got blown up. So this isn't a specific nation so much as you're that away. Deep periphery. You are way the heck there. There is some weird shit in the deep periphery, depending on what direction you go in. So inhabited space is something called the Inner Sphere, which is roughly as the name suggests, a roughly spherical blob, and anything outside that is considered the periphery. While settlements in the deep periphery are rare, they definitely exist, and depending on which direction you go in and when you're looking, oh boy!
Okay, so do you have a preference for any of these?
If all of the great houses, all of these regions have things going for them.
Because from what I remember, this doesn't play much into the story. It changes a few lines of dialogue here and there, but it is flavor.
Like, the only this is kind of ironic. The faction of these that I like the least is the Federated Sons, even though they were the original, oh, we're the good guys faction. They bore me. They bore me hard. Like, so my pick is not the Federated Sons.
Not the Federated Sons?
Yep. My brother's favorite among these is the Draconis Combine, and I don't blame him. They're incredibly entertaining.
See, I also have a friend who, whenever he plays anything Battletech or Mechwarrior, aligns with Kurita at any given chance he gets. But me, I like the big boys.
Yeah, that's why I liked House Steiner as a kid. I definitely like the other states a little bit more now, but House Steiner does always have a special place in my heart. Especially because, like, they've become such a meme for their, number one, for giant friggin' mechs, and also for being blisteringly incompetent.
So,
Okay.
we are of noble birth, though immigrants to the Reach, your family soon established a simple presence, a small backwater system on the edge of space. By the time you were born, your family became de facto ruling nobility of the system's only inhabited planet. You were the oldest child, and the family heir to the family's titles, and the ancestral battle mech, the Blackjack BJ-1. This is where you met Raju Mastiff Montgomery, who actually, you can pop up and see his little tag there. Veteran of the Succession Wars, hired by parents to train you, and you had an uneventful life until the day after your 16th birthday, when...
If it was House Steiner, it would probably be a combination of your family went bankrupt and your family was betrayed, because politics in House Steiner can get... Business in politics in House Steiner can get nasty.
But these give you bonuses. We finally hit something that actually matters.
Oh, okay.
If you were exiled, you get gunnery in tactics. Struck out on your own, piloting in tactics. When bankrupt, tactics and guts. Piloting in guts if there was an accident involved. And if you were betrayed, gunnery and guts. So I don't remember, I know you have to get through all of them at some point in time, and my two favorites are not there together at any point, which would be piloting and gunnery.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are only two. I think that had gunnery, yeah. So we will go with betrayal, because guts has maximum health.
Okay.
And reduces the penalty from recoil, and you can take more heat with guts.
Nice.
Gunnery is just your ability to aim.
Always useful.
Yeah. Out on your own, we could be a Oregon Coalition soldier, a Frontier pirate, a Solaris gladiator, Intersphere merc, Frontier freelancer, or a merchant guard. Which again gives you a different bonus to whatever it is.
Solaris is right there in House Steiner.
Yeah. And also it's more gunnery.
Yep.
Until years later, you crossed paths with Raju Massive Montgomery once again, where you're a low-level champion down on your luck and had a one bad fight away from the gutter until he heard about you. He trekked all the way to Solaris to offer you passage back to the Reach and a job in House Arano Royal Guard. So now you find yourself reunited with your old mentor, preparing your blackjack for guard duty on the coronation day of Lady Kamea Arano.
So the region of space we're going into, if you look through most of the older canon Battletech books, there's nothing marked there, and that actually is deliberate on the part of the people who made the video game. basically they wanted to create a thing where you wouldn't have an impact on the greater setting, which was a problem with some of the older games. Like, oh boy, you won the XCom Civil War single-handedly. Too bad we can't tell anyone about it. So, yeah, the Oregon Collective has actually been canonized in the tabletop game. Basically, it's so unimportant that nobody actually recognizes it as a nation, not even Comstar, who will recognize anybody and everybody.
And we can go in here and completely customize the portrait. It's not that big a deal to do it. I mean, I do not hate this picture for my avatar.
It is Beard Elemental.
Yes, it is. It is very much Beard Elemental. Change the hairstyle to that, though. Rather than the big bushy bangs, I just kind of have the stringy over-the-top hair. Let's see. I do not need help, cat.
But wait, that's your Battletech talking.
So, let's see. What do we actually want the call sign to be? What do we actually want to call? What do we want this guy to be called in combat?
I'm trying to think of, like, the worst thing I can think of. We are Punch Donkey.
Let's see. Thank you for shaking my desk there when you decided to half jump off of it, cat. Thank you for that. You know, in reference to what I called myself in first-person shooters for the longest time because I'm terrible at them. Call sign body bag. So we start off with 4 gunnery, 2 piloting, 2 tactics, and 3 guts. And as a nice touch, it did allow you to pick your pronouns.
Yep. Actually, so they're doing, if I'm interpreting this correctly, they're actually doing something reverse from the tabletop game. Tabletop game, the lower your scores are, the better. Kind of like, you know what, never mind. But
yeah, here it's the higher, the more you have.
Yep.
Help, so.
More intuitive that way to me, but what do I know, right? No, it was never prosperous. You are dirt farmers in the middle of nowhere. Nothing in the periphery was ever prosperous. Feudalism is a big thing in the future, and that's because, like, in interstellar distances, it turns out democracy is horribly inefficient.
It would be difficult to actually tally up votes.
Especially because, like, faster-than-light communication did not get invented until, like, the 27 or 2800s, something like that.
I can already tell I'm going to have to split this video in half, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Because my editor will not handle a video this long to get it into the proper format for YouTube not to use the bad encoder on it.
That is bullshit. Flamers absolutely generate heat when fire. Don't try to bullshit me, game. Okay, that's interesting. So there's sort of a quality thing going on, which makes sense in this setting.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the tabletop game hasn't included that, given that everybody's trying to hold together their mechs, especially at this time period, with, like, chewing gum and a prayer.
And the game, I don't know if it's flickering for you on your end, but it is definitely flickering these loading screens.
A little bit for me. Yeah.
So actually, I might be able to say I'm going to cut the video here, and when we come back, we will actually jump into the first mission, because I should be able to trim some dead air and the very beginning of this video to get it under the limit my editor will handle.
Okay.
So, when we return, training mission. So until then, take care, everybody.
Bye-bye-in.
God damn it, man.